Hello and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for another episode of the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. I'm sorry about the glare, but I did put plastic covers on all my fighting fantasy books, which means that at certain angles it doesn't really show that well on camera. I'm sorry about that. Yesterday, I started playing this game again for the first time in a third of a century, and it went reasonably well, I think. I did manage to get all the way to the end, although I was missing at least one key. At the end, there is a treasure. The box to which, the strong box, is locked by 3 keys, and you have to have the 3 correct keys for it. I'd found 2 keys. They may or may not be correct because I know there's at least one red herring key in this game. And today I will try to find the last key, or the correct keys rather, which may be some other ones entirely than the ones I found. Because I managed to get all the way to the wizard himself, to the Warlock, in my first playthrough, there's a certain chance, of course, that I will not make it that far today, which will be a sort of a first for me if that happens. On all my other games now, I've never managed to get to the end on my first try. Because this is structured slightly differently. It's not just about getting to the end, which is probably a bit easier in some ways than it is in the other ones I've played. But you also have to get to the end having the right items, that is to say, the keys, to get to excuse me, paragraph 400, where you get the treasure of the Warlock. So, and of course my map was a bit messy, especially when I get to Zago's maze. I will try to navigate by it. I think I sort of know what I'm going to do there. I think I need to get the Minotaur and get his key, and I know where the exit is. So those 2 things, definitely. I'm not sure about the rest. I might be able to skip that. I'll see when I get there. So without too much further ado, and hopefully a bit more water, because as usual, as you can hear, my throat is a bit dry, and it's all this talking doesn't really help either. I will try to give you another run of the game book that started all the game books, basically. The game, yeah. The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Fighting Fantasy Game Book number 1. Right, I am back with let's see, a new character sheet. Got my book, got my dice, pencil and pen. Got my very messy map, especially the maze is very messy from last time. And hopefully the map will be able to guide me to the places where I haven't explored yet, where I may find the last key or keys that I need. I think that just to make it a little bit simpler for myself, I'll just keep my stats from last time. Because I think they're quite okay to play with. So because they're not, they're not maximum, so I get a little bit of potential for things going wrong. And let's shift my chair a little bit. And still, it should be relatively easy to get through the game if I go the right way, certainly. So I got skill 11, stamina 22, luck 11, and provisions 10. And a potion of strength. I like calling it potion of stamina. And of course 2 doses of that, which I think is a bit much, but there you go. That is the rule of the game. And I shall begin. I'm not going to do any of the rules now. I'm just going to go straight on to the introduction, which in this book is called Rumors, not to be confused with the Fleetwood Mac album, which I would say is even better than this. Okay. Only a foolhardy adventurer would embark upon such a perilous quest without first finding out as much as possible about the mountain and its treasures. Before your arrival at the foot of Firetop Mountain, you spent several days with the townsfolk of a local village, some 2 days' journey from the base. This local village is not mentioned here, but later in other game books we find that that village is called Anvil. Being a likable sort of person, you found it easy to get on with the local peasants. Although they told many stories about the mysterious Warlock sanctuary, you could not feel sure that all, or indeed any, of these were based on fact. The villagers had seen many adventurers pass through on their way to the mountain, but very few ever returned. The journey ahead was extremely dangerous, that you knew for certain. Of those who returned to the village, none contemplated going back to Firetop Mountain. There seemed to be some truth in the rumor that the Warlock's treasure was stored in a magnificent chest with 2 locks, and the keys to these locks were guarded by various creatures within the dungeons. The Warlock himself was a sorcerer of great power. Some described him as old, others as young. Some said his power came from an enchanted deck of cards, others from the silky black gloves that he wore. The entrance to the mountain was guarded by a pack of warty-faced goblins, stupid creatures, fond of their food and drink. Towards the inner chambers, the creatures became more fearsome. To reach the inner chambers, you would have to cross a river. The ferry service was regular, but the ferryman enjoyed a good barter, so you should save a gold piece for the trip. The locals also encouraged you to keep a good map of your wanderings, for without a map you would end up hopelessly lost within the mountain. When it finally came to your day of leaving, the whole village turned out to wish you a safe journey. Tears came to the eyes of many of the women, young and old alike. You couldn't help wondering whether they were tears of sorrow shed by eyes which would never see you alive again. Now turn over. At last your 2-day hike is over. You unsheathe your sword, lay it on the ground, and sigh with relief as you lower yourself down onto the mossy rocks to sit for a moment's rest. You stretch, rub your eyes, and finally look up at Firetop Mountain. The very mountain itself looks menacing. The steep face in front of you looks to have been savaged by the claws of some gargantuan beast. Sharp rocky crags jut out at unnatural angles. At the top of the mountain you can see the eerie red colouring, probably some strange vegetation which has given the mountain its name. Perhaps no one will ever know exactly what grows up there, as climbing the peak must surely be impossible. Your quest lies ahead of you. Across the clearing is a dark cave entrance. You pick up your sword, get to your feet, and consider what dangers may lie ahead of you. But with determination you thrust the sword home into its scabbard and approach the cave. You peer into the gloom to see dark, slimy walls with pools of water on the stone floor in front of you. The air is cold and dank. You light your lantern and step warily into the blackness. Cobwebs brush your face and you hear the scurrying of tiny feet. Rats, most likely. You set off into the cave. After a few yards, you arrive at a junction. Will you turn west or east? Of course, yesterday I tried turning east and there was just a trap there, so I will turn west and go to 71. There is a right-hand turn to the north in the passage. Cautiously you approach a sentry post on the corner, and as you look in you can see a strange goblin-like creature in leather armor asleep at his post. You try to tiptoe past him. Test your luck. So, luck, first test of luck against 11, and I roll a 7, so that is now down to 10, and I passed it. If you're lucky, he does not wake up and remains snoring loudly. Turn to 301. To your left, on the west face of the passage, there is a rough-cut wooden door. You listen at the door and can hear a rasping sound, which may be some sort of creature snoring. Do you want to open the door? If so, turn to 82. If you wish to press on northwards, turn to 208. And I will open the door. The door opens to reveal a small, smelly room. In the center of the room is a rickety wooden table on which stands a lit candle. Underneath the table is a small wooden box. Asleep on a straw mattress in the far corner of the room is a short, stocky creature with an ugly, warty face. The same sort of creature that you found asleep at the sentry post. He must be the guard for the night watch. You may either return to the corridor and press on northwards, turn to 208, or creep into the room and try to take the box without waking the creature. If you want to try to steal the box, test your luck. I want to try to steal the box. I'm testing luck against 10 now, and I rolled an 8, so that is fine. If you're lucky it does not wake up, turn to 147. You leave the room and open the box in the passage. Inside you find a single piece of gold and a small mouse, which must have been the creature's pet. You keep the coin and release the mouse, which scurries off down the passageway. So now I've got gold 1. And gaining 2 luck points, so that moves me back to 11 again, which is why I did this, because I used up 1 luck on just passing the guard post, and I wanted to go back into maximum again. So I'm turning to 208. There's a lot of gaining of luck in this one, even when you can't really regain anything. Further up the passage along the west wall, you see another door. You listen at it, but hear nothing. If you want to try opening the door, turn to 397. If you want to continue northwards, turn to 363. Now, inside this door, there is the first key, which may or may not be the correct one. I do not know yet, but I will go and get it. The door opens to reveal a small room with a stone floor and dirty walls. There is a stale smell in the air. In the center of the room is a makeshift wooden table on which is standing a lit candle. Under the table is a small box. In the far corner of the room is a straw mattress. You may either open the box, turn to 240, or leave the room. So I will open the box. And find this absolutely beautiful snake here. The box is light, but something rattles within. You open the lid and a small snake darts out to bite at your wrist. You must fight the snake. And he's got a skill of 5 and a stamina of 2, which means 1 hit will kill it. He rolls 8 plus 5 is 13. I roll 11 plus 11 is 22, which is much higher. I hit him and I do 2 damage and he is dead. And I kill it and I go to 145. The box has fallen to the ground during your fight with the snake, and out of it has fallen a bronze-colored key with the number 99 carved into it. So we have... let's just do just a row here of keys. Bronze 99. I'm wondering if there's a clue in the color or material of the key to which key is the correct one. I haven't thought about... I definitely did not think about that when I played this in the old days, but I'll just make a note of it now in case there is a clue to it. Because I know that certainly Steve Jackson, he likes his clever clues. So maybe there is something there. Maybe the red herring key is, well, red. Anyway, I am... Yes. Sorry, where am I now? I just... yes, there we are. I had 1 luck point, so I just... Yeah, I got my luck there. And turn to 363. Further up the passage on the west wall, you see another similar door. You listen at the door and grimace to hear the worst singing you have ever heard in your life. Do you want to go into the room to investigate this hideous din? Turn to 370. Or walk up on the passageway. Walk on up the passageway, turn to 42. Now, I did go in last time, and I did choose not to fight whatever was inside the door again. I'll just keep going. I don't think there's anything of interest there. I'm just. You eventually arrive at the end of the passage at a three-way junction. You may turn either to the west or to the east. Now this is where I went east. And what did I find in this bit? I found a shield. And surely, yeah. Well, I will try going west in that case. Just to see. I'm sure I'm coming back to this path to the right here because the passageway runs straight for several meters and then ends at a wooden door. You listen at the door and hear angry shouting coming from within. Would you investigate? Turn to 168. And so we have 168. Investigate. Or turn back, 293. Go back. I will investigate, of course. Have to have a look and see. Oh, this is the Orc Chieftain I was wondering about last time. You open the door to a large room. A large chair behind a solid-looking table suggests to you that someone or something of rank uses this room. A chest in the center catches your eye. In the corner of the room stands a man-sized creature with a warty face, standing over a smaller creature of similar race. With a whip in hand, the Orc Chieftain has been beating his servant, who is whimpering beneath him. Will you attack them both? Spring at the chieftain in the hope that his servant will aid you, or leave the room and head back for the junction? I think if you attack the Orc Chieftain, I think his servant will attack you as well. I will attack them both. So I'm going, let's see, so I've got the option of 372 both, 65 chief. So I'm going to 372. The battle commences. Fight them one at a time, so that's relatively easy, usually. Oh, famous last words. I'm not supposed to say that. So it's 7, 6, and 5, 3. Right, so let's do the battle on a piece of paper here. Let's just move this a little bit. I'm a bit too off to the right here. So that's starting with a 7, 6. So he rolls a 5, I roll an 8, so he's down to 4 hit points. He rolls a 6, I roll a 6, he's down to 2 hit points. I roll an 8, no, he rolls an 8, sorry, and I rolled a 3, which means I am down to 20 hit points. He rolls a 3 and I rolled a 10, so the Orc Chieftain is dead. The servant is 5, 3. He rolls an 8, I roll a 7, he's down to 1. He rolls a 6, I rolled an 11, and he is also dead. So I defeated them both, and I'm going to 21. Let's see, so 21. 21. The green blood of the dead orcs smells foul as it seeps from their bodies. You step around the corpses and investigate the chest. It is a sturdy affair, made of strong oak and iron, and it is firmly locked. You may try to smash the lock with your sword, or leave it alone and go through the open door. So either go to 293 or smash 339. I'm going to try to smash it. The lock was obviously inadequate. It flies off and lands on the floor several meters away. You lift up the heavy lid and your eyes widen as you see the gold sheen coming from within. A fair number of gold pieces are inside. In one corner lies a small black bottle with a tight glass stopper containing a liquid of some kind. Also in the chest is a silky black glove. But as you are admiring this treasure, you hear a soft click and wince in pain as a small dart shoots forward into your stomach. Roll 1 die and subtract this from your stamina. 4. So my stamina is now, let's see, stamina 16. If you're still alive, turn to 201. Excuse me, I just need a sip of water. You sink to the floor, you pull the dart out and decide to bandage the wound. This gives some relief, but you still feel weak. You decide to take it easy and examine the chest, and examine the contents of the chest, but if you wish, you may eat some provisions here. So I will eat 1 provision, bringing my stamina back up to 20. There are 25 gold pieces on the label, and the bottle shows it to be a potion of invisibility. Oh, that sounds useful. So I got a potion of invisibility as well. And I've got 26 gold now. 26 gold. And the glove is a mystery. You may put any or all of these in. Okay, so a glove. You may put any or all of these into your haversack and leave the room. Turn to 293. So, let's see. So we have stamina minus 1d6, and then we go to 201. And there's 25 gold pieces, glove, invisibility potion. And then I'm going to 293, so we're going back the other way. So obviously this is potentially useful items. You arrive back at the junction in the passage and walk straight on eastwards. Turn to 113. Okay, so we are back where we were last time. You arrive at another junction in the passage. You may either go northwards, turn to 285, or continue eastwards, turn to 78. I haven't made a note of anything interesting being there, so I'm going to go northwards. Sometimes when I do my map, I'll forget to make a note of things, though, especially things I pick up. So you see a well-used door on the right-hand east side of the passageway. With your ear to the keyhole, you listen and hear a man screaming for help from inside. Will you open the door? Turn to 213. Let's see. Well, this was the old man who tells me about the right lever. I don't think there was anything else useful from that encounter. I've done this before. I'll just have a quick look at the passage now. 260. Ah, yes. Okay, I did actually forget to make a note of the fact that you do get 1 luck here as well. So +1 luck. Okay, I don't need 1 luck now, so in that case, I'll just skip that and walk on. And I go into 314. Further up the passage, you see a door in the east wall. You listen hard, but you can hear no sound. Do you want to open the door to investigate? If so, turn to 223. If you want to walk further up the passage, turn to 300. So this is where you can find a shield. So I'm going to go and get that shield. The door is firmly locked. You may try to force it open, turn to 53. So I'm going to try to force it open. You charge the door, hitting it squarely with your shoulder. Roll 2 dice. against skill, so that is 8. Yep, that's below skill. So the door opens, turn to 155. The door splits along its length and you can wrench the timbers apart to let yourself in. A torch hangs from one wall, lighting up a small armory room stocked with swords, shields, helmets, daggers, breastplates, and the like. You examine the weaponry and find nothing appearing superior to your own sword. What about the helmets and breastplates, though? Ah, never mind. However, a circular iron shield with a golden crescent at its center catches your eye. You pick it up and feel its weight on your arm. If you wish to take this shield, it will aid you in battles by helping to fend off wound damage inflicted by a creature on you. If in future during a battle in which you are using the shield, a creature wounds you, you may throw 1 die. If you throw a 6, the creature inflicts only 1 point of damage instead of the normal 2. If, for some reason, the creature would normally only inflict 1 point of damage, then a successful roll of 6 would mean that no damage is done. However, the shield is heavy and you will have to leave behind 1 item of equipment, and that 1 item will have to be the glove. So the glove is gone. Sorry, glove. Yes. Right. So, shields, adding my shield. So I can take it to the riverside and lay it down there at some point. So I'm going to leave the room now and go to 300. On the east wall of the passage you see another door, this time made of solid metal. Listening at the door you hear the sound of tortured screams coming from within. If you wish to try opening the door, turn to 102. And let's see, what did we get there? Goblins. I didn't write anything interesting. There's... I don't know, just ignore that room, I think. And I go to 303. I don't think there's anything interesting there. You arrive at the end of the passage where it meets another going east-west, but an iron portcullis blocks your way and no amount of charging is going to budge it. On the wall to your right are 2 levers, and it seems likely that these levers have something to do with raising the portcullis. Do you wish to pull the right lever or the left lever? Now, the old man that I didn't talk to this time, he told me, I believe, it's the right lever. The left one is a trap of some sort, and I'm going to pull the right one. So that is 128. That's what I did last time, and it did seem to work. You hear a deep rumbling noise, and the ground begins to shudder. Slowly and noisily, the portcullis rises into the ceiling. You may now walk to the junction. Will you turn west? Turn to 210. Or east, turn to 58. 58, so east 58. So, I did not turn east last time. Now, is there anything in this western bit that... There might be something here, of course, that is important. And of course, there may be something going east that is important as well. I just don't know yet. But of course, I haven't been to the eastern bit now, so I will go east. So I can explore that part of the dungeon as well. Cautiously, you creep along the passageway. After a short time, it turns sharply to the north. At the corner, there is a bench of solid wood, and above the bench's sign reads, "Rest ye here, weary traveller." Here you may stop and eat provisions if you wish. Turn to 15 or continue to 367. So I don't have any provisions I need to eat right now. I'm 2 down on my maximum stamina, so that should be fine. So I might as well continue, I guess. So I'll just make a note of the options here. So that is 15, rest, or 367, move on. So I'm continuing. I'm going to 367. You arrive at another junction in the passageway. If you would like to turn westwards, turn to 235. If you wish to go east, turn to 323. So we have, because this is where my map becomes even less geographical. So west is 235, and east 323. Okay, I'll turn east. I'll turn east this time as well. After a few meters, you reach another three-way junction. You may go either northwards or eastwards again. So that is 255 east or 8 north. I'm going to try east again. I mean, how far east can I get? I mean, the passageway ends in a sturdy wooden door. If you want to try opening it, turn to 193. If you want to go back to the junction and try another route, turn to 93. So we have 193 open or 93 go back. Right, return. 193. Okay, I'll open the door. The door opens and you enter a small room. Your eyes widen as you look around to see that the walls of the room are covered in ornate stonework. Mosaics and marble inlays give this room a kind of beauty you have never seen before. In the corner of the room is a large metal statue of a one-eyed creature. In its single eye is a sparkling jewel. As there appear to be no other ways through the room, you will have to go back to the junction, but that large jewel is very tempting. Will you leave it alone and go back to the junction, turn to 93? Or try to take the jewel with you, turn to 338. Of course, I remember this one very well because this is an iron cyclops, and the jewel is something I believe that made defeating Zagor easier. But this is quite a hard battle, if I remember correctly. So, but it might be worth going for it. I'll go for it because this is part of the fun of the game. You approach the statue cautiously. A scampering behind you makes you flash around, but it is only a rat. You feel at the jewel, but it is solidly in place. You try to work your sword in behind it, and as you work, you hear an ominous creaking noise. To your horror, the statue is beginning to move. You jump down and draw your sword. The iron cyclops cranes its head round towards you and steps down from its pedestal. You must fight. So there we are. This is the first tough battle. 10. I've got 11-20, so let's see how that goes. I'll just write down mine as well now because I'll need. Let's see, that's a bit out of shot now, so I'll move this over here. Right, so we have. He rolled a 9. I rolled a 7, so he hits me first. He rolls a 12. Oh, come on. I rolled an 11. That's a draw. At least. Oh, I forgot to use my shields. Okay, first attack shield, roll a 5, no shield. He rolls an 8, I roll a 9, so that is me injuring him. He rolls a 9, I roll a 6, I'm down to 16. He rolls a 2, I roll an 11, I'm 6. He rolls a 6, I roll a 7. It's down to 4 hit points. He rolls a 9, I roll a 6, I'm down to 14. He rolls an 8, I roll a 2, I'm down to 12. He rolls a 10, I roll a 9, that's a draw. Oh, I forgot to use my shield again. Actually, I forgot to use my shield a few times there. Yeah, none of them. Right. He rolls a 10. I roll an 8. So that is me again. Shield. Nope. He rolls an 8. I rolled a 2. Shield. Nope. That shield is not very good, is it? 9. 12. 5. 9. And he is dead, but I'm quite injured. If you win, turn to 75. Let's see. So, yes, 3 strings. So that is the 10, 10. Cyclops. And you can escape to 93. Escape, and you can win and go to 75. And You sit back and rest from the exhausting battle. You may eat provisions here. Okay, so this is actually a bit different to some of the other books where you have provisions. You're actually not told when you can eat them. I think it's actually quite a good thing that it tells you when resting is suitable, because it doesn't make any sense to rest anywhere in these dungeons or in these games. I think it does make sense to have specific locations where you can do that. So my stamina is 8, so I want to increase my stamina back up to 20. So that's 3 provisions. So I got down to 6, and I'm up to 20 again. Oh! I found another key. See, I haven't been reading the whole thing, so I found... Yes. You prize a jewel from the still statue. It is heavy in your hand and is worth 50 gold pieces. Not that that matters so much. So I've got the jewel. 50. I think, is this an early Dungeons and Dragons thing where when you have a jewel, it actually... you sort of know the gold piece value as well. I sort of have a vague memory of something like that going on in Dungeons and Dragons. So that's might be where they got it from. Anyway, you put it in your pack. As you explore the room and the statue, you notice that one of its breastplate sections is loose. When you open this, a small key is inside. You examine this and notice the number 111 on it. It doesn't say what it's made of, though, so that's not a clue. So it's 111. With a smile, you put the jewel and the key in your pack and set off back to the junction. Turn to 93. So, okay, so I've got 2 keys. Last time I found... which ones did I find last time? I did find 111. Oh, hang on. Is there more than 111 key? Didn't I find 111 last time as well? I definitely did, and I didn't go here, so... does that mean that there is actually 2 ways to get 111 key? That's interesting. Because that one I got from the Minotaur was also 111. Is that right? I'll just double check now. So that is interesting. Yeah. Okay, so there's actually 2 keys numbered 111, which means that you have to fight either the Minotaur or the... I presume you can't use both of them. That doesn't make any sense. You would be able to use both. Interesting. Okay. Right. So 2 keys, 111. So somebody has a copy. In that case, I probably shouldn't... I don't need to attack the Minotaur in this time. Anyway. Right, so, yes, I have to make a note of that. So that is key 111, jewel, 3 luck points I'm getting. Of course, again, I mean, it doesn't make sense with these luck points now because I'm being given so many luck points when I haven't had a chance to lose them. That's something they've sorted out better later books. I mean, it sort of feels right to get luck, but you also have to be able to use it, I think. for that to make sense. So, and then you return to the junction and go to 93. You arrive back at the junction, and this time you turn northwards, turn to 8. So we are going to 8, and actually that one mapping there was very efficient. Accidentally, of course. The passage ahead ends at a sturdy door. You listen but hear nothing. You try the handle, it turns, and you enter the room. As you look around, you hear a loud cry from behind you and swing around to see a wild man leaping towards you, wielding a large battle axe. He is a mad barbarian, and you must fight him. So, there is a door in the north wall opposite, although through which you may escape during the battle if you defeat the barbarian, etc. So, right, so we have 7-6 barbarian. Yes. Oh, I wrote 7-8 on my. Okay. So battle again. So he rolls an 8, and I roll an 8. So that is him down to 4 hit points. He rolls a 6. I roll a 10. He's down to 2. He rolls a 4, and I roll a 4. So he is dead, and he is not mad anymore. So I defeat him, and so let's see. So there is actually an escape route there. So that's 189 escape, or 273 win. Now, there seem to be fewer ways to escape in later books as well than there are here. A touch of the room reveals nothing of any value, although an old box in the corner contains a wooden mallet and 5 short stumps of wood, sharpened at one end. You may take these if you wish. Okay, may as well. So we've got mallet plus 5 wood. So basically it's like a croquet set of some sort, I presume, where some parts are missing. Right, so then I may leave and go to 189, and I think my map's going to go into a bit of a conflict with itself soon. The door opens into a short corridor which ends several meters ahead at another door, similar to the one you have just come through. You listen and hear nothing. You try the handle and it turns, allowing you into another room of a similar size, but this room is splendidly decorated with a polished marble floor and rough walls painted white. On each of the 4 walls hangs a painting, and there is another door in the north wall. You can either go straight through the room, turn to 90, or you may stop to look at the paintings. Okay. Right, so paintings, 25 paintings. Or go through. I have a feeling stopping and looking at the paintings was a bad thing to do, but I'll just do it anyway. I'm a bit curious what happens now. The paintings are portraits of men. Your spine shivers as you read the nameplate under the one on the west wall. It is that of Zagor, the warlock whose treasure you're seeking. You look at his portrait and realize you are pitting yourself against an awesome adversary. You have the feeling that you are being watched, and you notice the piercing eyes following you as you move. You find yourself drawn towards his portrait, and your fear rises. Lose 1 skill point. Not a good idea, then. Do you have the courage to try to combat the warlock? You may either leave through the north door straight away, but treat this as an escape, or you may look through your pack for a weapon to use against the warlock's power. Turn to 340. So I am going to look through my backpack because I think if I remember correctly, from a third of a century ago, the jewel I prized from the eye of the Cyclops is actually going to be useful to me now. You try various items of equipment against the gaze of the painting, but none seem to work. None seems to work. You may try any of the following if you have them. Slash the painting with your sword, hold a jewel up in front of it, plunge a wooden stake into it, or throw cheese at it. But I'm obviously going to hold a jewel up in front of it because that is the one Achilles heel of Zagor, is that jewel. So, oh, this is going to mess my map up completely, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 45, 241, 31, 388. I'm going to use the jewel. So there's a duel, if you like. If you have the jewel from the eye of the Cyclops, you hold it in front of the Warlock. His intimidating stare turns to an expression of pain. He obviously feels the jewel's power. Suddenly his eyes turn white and his expression goes limp. Your confidence gains as you realize you have won your first real battle. Gain 2 skill points, so that is me back again to 11. And of course, there's no way I would have lost another point of skill, surely. Put the jewel into your pack and leave through the north door. Turn to 90. So we are going down to 90 there. You open the door into a narrow passage and follow it northwards. Some meters up the passageway, it turns to the east, then turns to the north. However, at this second bend, there is a small alcove in the rock. It seems a convenient hiding place, and a large rock forms a comfortable seat. You may stop here and eat provisions if you wish. When you have rested, continue northwards. Turn to 253. So, 253. Let's go this way then. 253. Okay. Right. I'll definitely need to work a bit on my map. The passageway ends in another wooden door, this time a small one with a carved bone handle. You listen but hear nothing coming from inside. You try the handle and the door opens into a pear-shaped room with a rough stone floor, making walking across it somewhat awkward. In one corner of the room is a pile of rubble, mainly stones and dust. But there are also 2 odd-shaped pieces of wood and a length of rope. A door in the north wall leads on. Would you examine the bits of wood, study the length of rope, or leave through the north door? I've got a feeling that the rope, am I remembering this correctly? If you try to pick up the rope, it tries to strangle you or something? I can't remember for sure what happens there. 328, 73. I can't imagine I need the bits of wood. Right. I'll just leave through the north door. I'm not taking any chances now. The passage ahead leads you northwards. The rocky floor becomes sandy until eventually you're walking on a sort of coarse sand. You notice the passage is widening and ahead you can hear a flowing river. You continue until you find yourself in a large cavern through which a river flows. Turn to 218. Okay, so now we have got to the river in a different place. No, not a different place. 218. Okay, so that's where I got to when I swam last time. So I got to the river further west, and then I swam and I got to the riverbank on 218. So all this bit here I've now missed. I don't know if there's anything I need here. So that will be interesting to find out later. Also, I'm not sure about the keys. In any case, I'm going to 218. You're on the south bank of an underground river facing across its black depths. There appear to be 4 ways of crossing. To your left, the rusted bell bears the sign Ferry Service 2 gold pieces. Please ring. There is a small raft in front of you on the bank with a long stick resting beside it. You could punt across the river. A rickety old bridge crosses on the right. If you don't trust any of these, you may swim, which seems even more foolhardy to me. Which will you choose? So I did walk across the bridge last time, which was actually quite risky, it seemed, although I did manage it. I do have quite a few gold pieces now, so maybe I should just ring the bell to get across. Let's see. Yeah. How I see this was sort of multiple options there. Okay, so I'm just going to ring the bell. The bell gives a dull clang, and after a few moments you see a withered old man climb into a small rowing boat moored on the north bank. He rows slowly across to you, moors the boat, and limps towards you. He asks you for 3 gold pieces. When you protest at the price, he mumbles some flimsy excuse about inflation. He begins to get angry at your protestations. Do you pay him 3 gold pieces? Or threaten him? Now, if I pay him 3 gold, everything is fine. I do recall, if you threaten him, he turns into a were-rat, which is also the same were-rat, I presume, that you meet in Return to Firetop Mountain, Fighting Fantasy book number 50. Although, of course, the dynamics of crossing the river are a bit different at the time, and actually killing the were-rat is the easiest way to do it. So I'll, in this case, I'll just use 3 gold pieces and turn to 272. He calms down, takes the gold, and rows you across to the north bank. After mooring the boat, he ambles off down a passageway. Turn to 7. So that is my first part of the map out of the way. Right. Seven. You are on the north bank of a fast-flowing river in the large underground cavern. Turn to 214. Right, let's see, 214. I forgot to make a note of 214 last time. So 214, 214. There we are. Right, facing northwards, the rock face is smooth and glistening with moisture. Moss of many different hues grows on the surface. There is an eerie silence, punctuated only by the splashings of the river as it flows behind you. You have 3 options. A passage runs off to the northwest. If you take this route, turn to 271. A large timber door is directly in front of you. In the middle of the rock face, if you open the door, turn to 104. You're not supposed to do that. Because that's a trap, or you may, another passage runs out along the river eastwards. To follow this along the riverbank, turn to 99. And of course, you'll notice the style of the options has changed already because we've swapped from one writer to the other now. East or west? I'm going to go northwest actually this time. Northwest. The short passage begins to narrow and ends a few meters ahead of the doorway. If you wish to go through the door, turn to 336. If you decide against this direction and go back to the river, turn to 214. Okay, so that's another door. Let's move that over here. So 271. No, sorry, 336. Or you may go to 214 and turn back. So return. Door. I'm going to go through the door. Check out the door. You are in a small, foul-smelling room. You notice 2 doors, one to the west and one behind you to the south. Suddenly you go through the door and you notice there's a door to the south. Ooh, well. Aren't you clever? The furniture in the room is sparse and has been made mostly from bits of old boats. There appears to be nothing of value in the room, but a bunch of keys hangs on the wall. An old man in ragged clothes is slumped asleep on a bench made from half a rowing boat, snoring loudly. Next to him is a vicious-looking brown dog with red eyes and black teeth, whom you have awakened and who now is eyeing you suspiciously. A deep growl is coming from his throat. You may tiptoe and exit through the south door. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Bang on the door behind you and cough a few ahems to wake up the old man, or leap across the room with sword drawn to cut down the dog. So we have a few options here. I'll just do down here. So 66. That is go back really. Then it is ahem 172 ahem, and then it is 249 attack. I'm thinking, what am I thinking? If I attack the dog, is the guy going to wake up anyway? I have a feeling I have to fight this regardless of what I do, so I'm just gonna attack the dog. Preemptive strike, as it were. The dog springs as you move. Its hideous black teeth are coming straight for your throat. 2 meters from you, a blast of fire shoots from its mouth right at your face. You duck just in time, but must now fight the beast. So this is no ordinary dog then. 7-6. In addition to its normal attack, throw 1 die every attack round for its fiery breath. On a roll of 1 or 2, it scorches you for 1 point of damage. Subtract from your stamina, but on a roll of 3 to 6, you avoid the blast. You may use your luck against the fire. The only escape open is through the south door. The old man watches the fight, but does not move unless you kill his dog. If you kill the dog, you may escape through the south door, but you will not have time to take anything with you if you wish to stay, etc., etc. Add 1 luck point either way. That's a lot of information in 1 paragraph that normally would have been in a new paragraph, but that is fine. So, first attack round, he rolls a 9. I rolled an 11, so I injure him for 2, but he also gets his breath attack. And he rolls neither 1 nor 2. Next round, he rolls a 7. I roll a 6. So he is down to 2 stamina. He rolls for his breath, and he is successful. I presume I can still block that with my shield. No. So that is 1. And let's do 19. So he rolls 7, I roll 7, so he is dead. I'll just do his breath attack. He misses. And right, so that is, let's see, 7-6, special rules, just an asterisk there. I get 1 luck point that I don't need. And I wish to stay, so I'm going to go to 304. Maybe I have to attack the other guy as well now. The old man is furious that you're killing his dog. His eyes turn white with anger. Oh, spot the grammar here. You're killing his dog. Well, we don't see that very often these days, do we? But that is the correct way to write it. His eyes turn white with anger. He slowly rises from his seat, and as he stands, he appears to gain in size and stature. He is changing in front of your eyes. He sprouts hair on his face and forearms. His nose lengthens and becomes dog-like. His teeth are pointed. He is a werewolf, and he advances towards you. You can escape only through the door behind you to the south. Otherwise, you must fight him. And I'm going to fight the werewolf because that's what heroes do. And I just realized that I did the previous battle out of camera here, so I'm going to, sorry about that. I'm going to bring this one back again here now. I moved my camera a little bit to what I'm used to now because of the lighting. So it's a little bit different, and therefore I'm forgetting that I'm where's in shot. Maybe I should put some lines on my desk so I know where I'm filming. Anyway, 8-8, and I've got 11-19, so I'll just put that down there as well in case he hits me, and it's easier just to have it in the same place. So he rolls a 10. I rolled a 5, so, and then I rolled for my shield, and I'm down to 17. He rolls a 9, I roll a 6, so that is a draw. He rolls an 8, I roll a 4, so that is his hitting me again. He rolls a 4, I roll a 7. He is down to 6, and I forgot to use my shield again. Yes, so that is actually only 16 there. He rolls 9, I roll 8, so I hit him. He rolls 4, I roll 7. He's down to 2 hit points. He rolls a 5, and I roll a 4, and that is the werewolf dead, even without using any silver. I'm quite impressed with that. So I defeat him, and let's see, so that is 8 werewolf. Turn to 203. Add 1 point to your luck for defeating the werewolf. Yeah, well. You may rest and eat provisions if you wish. Let's see, my stamina is now 16, so I'll eat 1 provision and go up to 20. As you look around the room, there appears to be little of use, although a bunch of keys looks interesting, particularly the one marked Boathouse. None are numbered, unfortunately. You may take the keys if you wish, so I'm going to take the keys, so Boathouse. For doors to the west and south. If you open the west door, go to 38, so I'll go to, okay, so I can, okay, so I'm just going to 203, so that is key luck plus 1 again. And then I can go to 66 for going back, or going west, 38 west. Right. Do I want to go back, or do I want to go? Right, I'll go to 38. I'll go west, see what there is there. You open the door to find the werewolf's larder, a miscellaneous collection of bones and decaying meats. The smell is nauseating, although a jar of pickled eggs seems to offer fairly palatable food. If you wish to take these, there will be enough for 2 meals. Add 2 points to your provisions. Okay, so provisions up to 7. Back in the room, you may now go out through the south door, turn to 66. Okay, so prov plus 2, and then I'm going to 66 again. So that is, I'm definitely meant to be turning back there. The door opens and you find yourself in the passage leading back to the riverbank. Return to the river and may now either go for the door in the middle of the rock face, turn to 104. So that's this one there. Or go down the passage running off eastwards along the riverbank, turn to 99. So that is probably where I will want to go. Because 104, that's the one where you go into a trap. So that is not the wrong way. Not the right way. So I'm definitely going to 99. And that means I've done all this bit there. The passageway runs eastwards. Ahead of you, you can see that a solid-looking door blocks the passage. You step up to investigate. Turn to 383. So we have here 383. A sign above the door reads, Boathouse. The door is firmly locked, but a small barred window allows you to look inside. You can see a number of skeleton men working on building a boat of some sort. They move in a series of quick, jerky actions, rather insect-like. If you have a key clearly labeled Boathouse, yeah, I do have that. So, yeah, well, I suppose that's, because once I finish building the boat, I can also make a skeleton crew, I suppose. Yeah, I know that's a terrible joke. Right, so return, so 129, return, key 80 and 264 break. So I've got the key, of course, so I can use that. The key fits the lock and opens the door. You find yourself in a large boathouse. Various boats in different stages of construction are lying around. Apart from the door behind you, there is another in the north wall. As you enter, the skeletons stop their work and crane their bony necks around to look at you. They pick up planks and wooden hammers and advance towards you. There are 5 of them. Do you smile nervously and back out of the door into the passage? And so that is 129. Tell them you come about buying a boat. Tell them you are their new boss and order them back to work, or draw your sword and prepare for battle. Right, interesting choices. Right, so I suppose... So 140 fight... 123 buy, and 195 boss. Because I did have the key, didn't I? So I would look a bit like the new boss. I'm going to try being a new boss. 195. That is a rather unlikely story, considering that they see very few humans around. Nevertheless, skeletons are pretty dim. You knew this, and that's why you tried the story. Roll 1 die. If you roll a 1 or 2, they don't believe you and keep on advancing. Okay, so what do they do? A 3 or 4 means that they aren't sure and send 2 of the number off through the north door, whilst the rest hold you at bay with their weapons. 5 or 6, and I didn't roll a 6. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I'm out of shot again. I rolled a 6. Means they believed you and they all get back to work. And 2 luck points, which I don't need again. I suppose this is the kind of thing where normally you would want to use luck in a later game. So I'm going to 9. So 9. Right, so 140 or 164. So let's roll 1d6. 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. Right, so I'm going to paragraph number 9. Amazed at the success of your bluff, you decide to push your luck a little further. You can either examine the skeleton's tools or pretend you're looking for worksheets and look through the drawers of the various benches. If you choose the tools, turn to 34. Right, so I can look at tools, drawers, 322, drawers, tools. If you search the drawers, turn to 322. You hear a noise from behind the north door and realize you will have to hurry. So it's tools or drawers? Well, I don't know. Tools, drawers. I'm going to go with the drawers. The drawers are full of nails, tacks, and miscellaneous bits and pieces. And one drawer is a copper-colored key inscribed with the number 66. Okay, so we got copper 66. So I've got 3 keys now. I'm not sure if they're the right 3, but I've got 3 keys. Which looks interesting. You may keep this key if you discard 1 item of equipment you are carrying. Right. Well, I'm going to drop the boathouse key then. The noise from the north gets louder. You go to the north door to investigate. So turn to 96. Let's see, 96. The door opens into a short corridor about 15 meters long. There are 2 doors, one on each end. You now realize what the noise was. More skeletons, 4 of them armed with swords, are running down the corridor towards you. They don't appear to have seen you, and you notice a slight recess in the wall which may be useful hiding place. You decide to try it. Turn to 374. So 374. Hide. So, let's see how that goes. The skeletons do not notice you and disappear through the door into the boathouse. Breathing a sigh of relief, you press on to try the door at the north end of the passage. But before you go, you may eat some provisions, and you may add 2 luck points for evading the skeletons. Luck again, so... there's luck points everywhere in this one. Bit of a shame you can't use them all. So turn to 207. So there we are. 207. Right, going through the door, you enter a large room. Various bits of wooden debris are strewn untidily across the floor. Apart from your entrance door, there is also a door in the north wall. In one corner is a crude wooden desk with a box on it. In another corner, apparently asleep or dead, is a hideous-looking man-sized creature with warty skin, wild hair, and long claws for fingernails. Will you tiptoe out through the north door, turn to 83, or tiptoe across to the desk to look at the box, turn to 154. So 44, box, or 83, 3, door. I'm going to check out the box and see how that goes. As you move, the creature's eyes flash open. He sees you and slowly gets to his feet. His breathing becomes heavy and he stalks towards you. You must stand and fight him. Turn to 41. That's a bit weird. They're doing this in one paragraph and not actually adding the monster here as well. It's a bit inconsistent in the style. I suppose they got more used to it as they went on. So this is... Oh, I'm soon crashing into my maze here. So maybe I should just do 41 down here to make it even less geographical. He is a powerful adversary, a wight. He is large, strong, and evil. The battle commences. Oh dear. Got a bad feeling about that one. Let's see. So he's got 9, 6. You fight with your sword after you have inflicted your first wound on him, turn to 310. Okay, that's interesting. So, right, so he rolls an 11. He rolls, I rolled a 4. Let's see, I'll just write mine here as well. So that is, and I'll test for my shield. No. So I'm down to 18. He rolls a 3, I roll an 8, so he's down to 4, but I'm now turning to 300, let's see, 9, 6, white, 310. That's 1 wound, okay. Something is not quite right. You landed a fair blow on him, but he appears not to have noticed the wound. You deduce that this undead creature is not vulnerable to normal weapons. You may choose a new weapon, armed with this or your old weapon. Turn to 211, so... I don't really have any other... Well, I got a mallet. Let's see, 211. Wights are vulnerable only to weapons made of solid silver. If the weapon you're using is not made of silver, have 1 more attack round. Remember that any wounds he inflicts on you will count, but your wounds will not harm him and he will still be at full strength. So he's still 6. And he will still be at full strength unless you have chosen a silver weapon. If you have a silver weapon, you had better use it now and turn to 173. If you have not, or if you have suffered enough damage, you'd better run for the north door, turn to 360. Remember that you are escaping and he inflicts a final wound as you flee. So, so I will do one more attack round according to the instructions here. So he rolls 6 and I roll 2 and I roll for my shield. So he inflicts another injury on me and I'm down to 16. And then I will escape and he automatically does another 2 damage. So there we are. So 300 and so silver. 360. So I presume there is some point earlier in the game there is a way to get a silver weapon. And again, I'm sorry, I've done it again. I'm doing the combat out of sight of the camera here. Right, so I'm escaping through the North Door and I'm going to 360. The door slams shut with a loud bang behind you. Well, may as well. You find yourself in a passageway running ahead northwards. You follow it for several meters until it bends to the west, and continue onwards. Some way down the passage you come across a narrow opening in the north wall and decide to go through it. Turn to 89. And this is... 89 is where we've been before. Right, so I'm going to 89. You climb through the opening and find yourself at the top of a narrow staircase leading downwards. Cautiously you descend the stairs, turn to 286. A narrow staircase is cut into the rock and there are about 20 steps leading down. At the bottom of the steps, a passageway leads you into a large open chamber. This chamber stinks of putrefying flesh. The smell is so bad that you are tempted to turn back. 3 bodies lie in the chamber. You may either search the bodies or tiptoe quietly through the room. Now, the bodies, did they have anything interesting on them? Let's see. I can't read my notes here. I'll just quickly check what that meant, what it said there. Now that's a... Am I writing the... Let's see. Sorry about that. Let's see. Yes, that is the... Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't seem to have anything interesting, these ones. I think I can actually just try to tiptoe through the room because one of the bodies is a ghoul. I don't seem to have anything interesting. These you tiptoe through the room up a narrow staircase, ending up at the top of the stairs in a passage. That was easy, you think, and you begin to have second thoughts about whether it would have been worthwhile to search the bodies. If you want to return and search the bodies, starting with the third, turn to 148. Okay, so right. If you want to press on, turn to 197. So that is 197. Okay. So I'm going to 197. At the top of the stairs, the passage turns sharply to the east. As you pause to get your bearings, you hear a creaking in the rock behind you. Spin round in time to see heavy portcullis drop to seal off the passageway behind you. Your only way now is forward, and this is where you enter the maze of Zagor. You may either press on forward, turn to 48, or you may check the walls for secret passages. So there are no secret passages here. Let's see. I think I need my red pen for this. Now, The thing is, I sort of know my way through now, but I don't think I have the right keys. Or I'm not sure if I have the right keys. Could I have the right keys? I somehow doubt it. I just have a feeling there's something that I've missed that I haven't, that I've seen before. Just wondering what that might be. So now there's another key somewhere. I think because I don't think these are the right keys. I think 2 of them maybe are the right keys. But I think I'm actually missing 1 more of the correct keys. I sort of remember there is another one. I'm not sure if I'm actually past that now as well. So that regardless of what I do now, I might just sort of end up at the end without the right key. So now I'm able to get another key, 111. That won't help me, surely, because I don't think having 3 of those, two of those, is going to help, is it? I can't imagine that that's correct, having 2 of the same key. So, I don't know. Or maybe it is. I don't know. It just seems a bit weird. 2 key 111s. I'll have to try anyway, because that's my only option now. Because I think I've sort of looked through everything, but I haven't looked through everything in the maze. It's very hard for me to find out what I've actually missed. Anyway, I'll just have to get on with it now, and I'll just quickly go to the places I know where there is something worth. Is that correct though? I'm just wondering if our map is correct now for. Yeah. So, go to 197, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, I got a bit distracted there as I was pondering my keys. At the top of the stairs, the passage turns sharply to the east. As you pause to get your bearings, you hear a creaking in the rock behind you. Oh yes, I did that. So you may either press on forward, turn to 48. I'll do that. I don't think there weren't any secret passages right here. You're in an east-west corridor. If you go east, you will turn a corner northwards. So right now I'm here. To go this way, turn to 391. To go west, turn to 60. I haven't been west there, have I? So I'm going west to 60. You walk along the corridor only to find that the way westwards is blocked by heavy... Okay, so I suppose that's just the way back. That isn't really doable. Okay, so you're going back to 48 again, which means I'm going to 391. Just past the previous paragraph again. Now, this maze is quite unique, actually, in gamebook terms. Well, certainly the ones I've read, this is the only one with a maze where you can just walk back and forth and in circles. And you do end up walking in circles if you don't map it out. You are at the south end of a north-south corridor looking northwards. You can see a passage coming all from the east. Looking northwards, you can see a passage coming all from the east wall. So I want to go up to this passage. I've checked for secret doors before and there were none. So I'm going to go to 52, which I remember when I played this in the old days. I always remember paragraph 52 because I kept coming back to it the first few times I played the game. You're standing at a T-junction where a passage to the east comes off a north-south corridor. To go to the south, go to 391. To check for secret passages on the way south, go to 362. I've done that. To go north, go to 354. And to check for secret passages on the way northwards, go to 234. I haven't done that. Or to go east, go to 291. I have been there. And so that's also a dead end, I think. So I'm going to go northwards. I'm just going to go where I know there is something. 354. I'm just going to go to the Minotaur and kill him, I suppose. You're standing at the bend in the passage where you may go either west or south. To go west, turn to 308. To go south, 52. Check for secret passages turning west, 14. I haven't done that. Or south, 54. I'm going to just go west, 308. You're standing at the crossroads to the west. The passageway goes on a few meters and turns northwards. To the north, the passageway ends at the door. To the east, the passage continues and eventually turns southwards. Looking south, the passage goes on as far as you can see. Now, if this is my map correct here, is that the right place for the... Yes. I was wondering why I put red there because... Oh, can't see that now. So I got the red on my map, which usually means don't go there, but it looks like that is where I'm supposed to go now. So I'm going to go north, 54. You're standing outside a door at the north end of a north-south passage. To go south, turn to 308. To go through the door, turn to 179. So I'm going to go to 179. So the Minotaur is. You've entered a large square room. Broken pottery lies scattered all about. One large clay vase is untouched and is full of clear liquid. A large bowl is full of gold coins. As you enter the room, the door slams behind you and you swing around to face a strange-looking creature, half man, half bull, who is glaring at you. He's a Minotaur and he stalks towards you. He lowers his head, horns pointing at your chest, and charges. You must fight him. This is quite a vivid drawing, actually. Once you've seen this drawing, you can't unsee it. It's something very memorable about it. So this is quite a strong opponent. He has got 9, 9. I'm at 11, 20. So, and for a change now, I'll just do the battle here where you can see it. So here we are. So he rolls a 9 and I roll a 5. And I roll for my shield, and I actually block 1 point of damage. He rolls an 8, I roll a 7, so that is me hitting him. He rolls a 5, I roll a 6, he's down to 5 hit points. He rolls an 8, I roll a 6, that is a draw. He rolls a 6, I roll a 10, he's down to 3 hit points. He rolls an 8, I roll a 10, he's down to 1 hit point. He rolls 8, and I roll 10, and he's down to 0. And it does occur to me that because there are so many places in this book where you regain luck, using luck in battle actually makes sense now, because in most of the other books it doesn't make any sense because you don't want your luck to go down too much. But because you regain luck in so many places, you actually have the option of using luck in battles and actually making it work for you. So that's something I will have to take into account when I'm doing my simulation. It's going to be a bit more complicated for it, but I'm sure I'll be able to figure out a way to do it. I usually do figure out a way to do these things as long as I'm programming in BASIC, because that's what I know. Right. Well, you could have escaped this one, but I don't want to escape, of course. If you continue fighting and kill him, turn to 258. So we are going to 258. 258, there we are. You sort through the broken pots and find little of interest. The liquid looks, smells, and tastes like water. The coins in the pot are a fraud. 8 genuine gold pieces lie on the surface of the pile, and you may take these. So that brings my total up to 31. But underneath are merely painted pieces of pot. As you tip the vase out, it slips and breaks. A red-colored key appears, hidden inside a false bottom in the bowl. You may take this key. It's inscribed with the number 111. So I got red 111. You may rest here and eat some provisions. Do I need provisions? Let's see, I'm down to 19. Don't really need it, do I? Add 2 luck points. Okay, so again, I could have used luck points. Yeah, so I'll have to, when I'm doing my proper map, I'll really have to make a note of everywhere on the best route where you gain luck and then sort of calculate how many luck points you should plausibly be using in combat. In other books I've been playing, there's been no point to use luck points in battle because you sort of tend to lose and regain the same number of luck points for other things. But there are hardly any luck tests here. The things that normally would have been the luck test, like crossing the bridge and things like that, have been other methods of calculating things, just rolling a die. So that's one thing that changed from the beginning. Presumably they thought it was better to do it the other way. Right, so I leave the room and I go to 54. That's back again there. So going to 54, I go to 308. And then from 308, I go to 160. From 160, I go to 267. I'm just doing the route now because there's nothing happening in these places. But I'll just do the route now. 308. You're standing at the crossroads. To the west, the passageway goes on a few meters and turns northwards. To the north, the passageway ends at the door. And I'm going to go south, turn to 160. This is not the most exciting part of the book to see for you guys watching this now, because it's just a maze, a very featureless maze you can walk around in and get lost in. You follow a long, narrow passageway which goes south and east and south again until you eventually find yourself at the crossroads. Turn to 267. You now stand at the crossroads. To go north, go to 312. I'm not going any of the other directions. You follow a long, narrow passageway which goes north and west and north again, and you eventually find yourself at the crossroads. Turn to 300 and... hang on. That's where I'm supposed to go. Oh, hang on. I'm going to... whoop. Yes, I'm not going that way. I'm going to... oh, this is why my map is a bit of a mess now. So if I go to 267... that is going in circles now, because my map is rubbish. So, is this... yes, so 246. I'm going south to 246. Sorry, this gets very confusing if you watch it. You get set off south along a cobbled passageway. It swings west and south and west again until you find yourself at a three-way junction. And this is where I want to go north and go to 329. You set off and find yourself in the middle of a north-south passageway. There is a door in the western wall of the passage. Opposite the door is a passage going off eastwards. To the north, you can see a door some meters ahead. To the south, you can see a junction. Which will you choose? So, the door in the western wall was interesting, was it not? Let me go through it. I'll go through the door. I didn't write any notes there. The door opens into an east-west passage which turns north after several meters. To follow this direction, turn to 4. And if you decide to... oh, you can go back to 329. So I'm going to 4. That's just going to be mapped out nicely at some point. You find yourself in a north-south corridor. To the north, the passage turns east some meters ahead. To investigate, turn to 46. To the south, the passageway also turns east. Turn to 332 to go south. I haven't gone to that part before, but I'll just press ahead now. I'll just press ahead, see how this goes at the end. You're standing in a short east-west passageway with a door blocking the way to the east. To the west, the passage turns southwards after several meters. To go round this bend, turn to 4. To go through the door, turn to 206. Okay, so that is through the door. You enter a large square room. In the center of the room is a grey-haired old man sitting at a desk. His desk is covered in papers and parchments of various sorts, and he holds a long quill pen. He is surrounded by books. Thousands of them line the shelves around the walls from floor to ceiling. As you enter, he looks up at you. Will he recognize you? If you've been in this room before, turn to 284. If not, turn to 341. So I'm going to 341 because I haven't been there before. The old man glares at you as you enter the room. You may either apologize, explain that you lost your way, and leave through either the door in the west, turn to 46. or south, turn to 392. Or alternatively, you may try to talk to the old man. If you want to talk to him, you can either be pleasant, turn to 220, or demand that the answers to your questions, turn to 191. I'm going to demand again because I'm fed up with this. That's what I did last time. That sort of worked, didn't it? He shrieks and hides behind his desk. He is terrified of your aggressive manner. His squeaky little voice explains that he is the maze master in charge of the maze of Zagor. You talk to him and reassure him that you mean no harm, and he eventually comes out from behind the desk. He sits down, and as his confidence returns, a strange thing happens. His manner becomes firm and self-assured. He refers to a book, points his finger, and the book slips from the shelf and floats onto the desk in front of him. You deduce that he is a wizard of some power, perhaps even the dungeon master himself, come to investigate you. You ask him the way out of the maze. He tells you to leave by the south door, walk past the door on your right until you can go no further and turn left. Go over a crossroads and turn left at the next one. If you take his advice, leave through the south door and keep going until you reach the crossroads. Turn to 308. If you leave through the south door but intend to make your own way around, turn to 392. And leave via the west door, turn to 46. Oh, hang on. Is this where I'm... Oh, yeah, I've completely messed up this. That's this where I'm getting to... Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm very confused now. Where do I get to... Right, so what I'm doing now, I'm going to follow my map, and I see that I made a note of 329 to go east, because I misread my map earlier. So, and then I'm going to go to 299. I'm just going to pace quite through this now and just use my map. And then I'm going to 359. There's nothing happening here. I'm just doing directions now. That's also just a crossroads, and I'm going west. 385. Should I check out some other directions first? Like 190. So this is another dead end that can be examined. So 390, so that is 167. Or you can go back. I'll just go back and I'll just make my way to the end now and see if, even though I have 4 keys, I mean, maybe 3 of them, maybe there is only one red herring. If there's only one red herring, then I would have the right key. If there's more than one red herring, I would be in trouble. So I don't know yet. So 385, you travel westwards for several paces, then the passage turns to the north. Some way up, you reach a junction. You may go south, that's back again, really, or west, turn to 297. I haven't done that. To the north, the passage ends shortly at a dead end. If you wish to go up here, turn to 398. So that is where I'm going. You feel around the rock face at the end of the passage. One rock comes free and reveals a small knob with a handle on the end. Will you push it or pull it? So I'm going to push it, and I'm going to go to 364. As you push a knob, the small stone doorway slides open. You can either ignore it and return to the junction, turn to 256, or you can climb through, turn to 373. You are at the south end of a north-south passageway at a dead end. If you go northwards, you will reach a crossroads, turn to 85. So I'm going to 85. You are at the crossroads. North 106, west 59, east 318. And I am going north 106. This is the way out, but the rest of it is a bit hazy. The passageway ahead runs northwards for some time. You may rest along the passage to eat provisions. I will eat... I can eat 1 provision. Why not? I've got 7 left, so I'm up to full stamina of 22. Excuse me. Sorry, where was I now? Yes. It then bends to the west and begins to get quite narrow. You reach a small rocky arch, which you will have to stoop to get through. On the other side of the arch, you pause and look around. You are in the large cavern, which disappears into distant blackness. The cavern is partially lit by natural light, which streams in through a hole in the roof. You cannot see a way through. As you shine your lantern around the cavern, you hear a rumble. A dull glow flickers in the blackness. Suddenly, a jet of fire shoots from the depths of the cavern, narrowly missing you and singeing the mossy growths on the wall. You throw yourself onto the ground and look up to see a large dragon stalking out of the darkness towards you. There's a lot of stalking in this part of the game. This is the third monster that I've been stalking. Smoke curls from its nostrils. Its scaly red skin glistens with an oily covering. The beast is some 15 meters long. How will you attack the creature? Draw your sword, or search your memory for another means of attack. Do I have anything else I can use? I don't think I do, actually. I'll just draw my sword. I'm sure there is some way you can find something that will help you with this battle and make this easier. But I don't think that's technically needed because of the way that this game... Oh, it's 10-12. And I am 11-22 right now. And I shall bring this up so you can see the rolls. See my combat. So there we are. The dragon rolls... and also they've completely forgotten this one, but of course they should have included a breath weapon for the dragon, the same as they had with the dog, with that sort of hellhound kind of dog that we saw earlier that could breathe fire. This is a fire-breathing dragon that doesn't breathe fire, and then there's a dog that breathes fire. Go figure. He rolls a 4. I roll an 8, so I hit him first, and he is down to 10 hit points. He rolls an 8. I roll a 10. He's down to 8 hit points. He rolls a 7. I roll an 11. He's down to 6 hit points. He rolls an 8. I roll a 5, and I'm down to 20 hit points. Check my shield. Nope. He rolls 5. I roll 5. So he's down to 4 hit points. He rolls 7. I roll 6. So that is a draw. He rolls 7. I roll 10. He's down to 2 hit points. I need to take a sip of water. In the middle of the battle. He rolls 5 and I roll 10 and he is dead. And I'm now officially a dragon slayer as well. And I win and I go to 371. Safe for the moment, you investigate the cavern and find a passageway which continues to the west. Turn to 274. You may rest and eat provisions. So I'm down to 20. I might as well just eat a provision and go back to 22. 3 luck points. Again, I didn't use luck, but maybe I should start trying to do that. It just doesn't feel right using luck for battles. It feels right using luck for other things. That's just what I'm used to from the other games, but I would have to get used to it, I guess. I don't know how the other books are. I mean, like numbers 2 and 3 and 4 and stuff. I don't think they do this so much in the other ones. I mean, they do change quite a bit for the future ones, but I don't know yet. I'll see when I get to them after this. I'm confusing myself now, and I'm going to 274. Yes. Just distracting myself. You leave the cavern along a long, narrow corridor. After several hundred meters, it ends at a large wooden door, which is slightly ajar. Carefully, you ease it open a little further and poke your head around the side to see what is in the room. You see a small old man sitting at a table on his own, playing with a pack of cards. He looks quite a harmless old soul, grey-haired and bearded. He is seated. What will he do? Burst through the door, sword drawn to surprise the old man. Let's see. What did I do last time? I knocked, didn't I? Yes, I'm just going to do the same thing again. I knock on the door. I know that works. The old man looks at you, accepts your greetings, and bids you sit down. You sit at the table and notice that he is glaring at you. His piercing stare is becoming hypnotic, but you realize this and break eye contact. He opens his mouth to speak, and to your amazement, instead of an old man's voice, the whole room resonates to a powerful voice which seems to be coming from the walls themselves. You throw a glance back at the man and can see him changing before your very eyes. He is of imposing height. His tattered old rags have become robes of velvet and gold. His black eyes are fixed directly on yours. He has been expecting you, Mr. Bond. Turn to 358. Oops, smallest leap in history, there we are. The battle will call upon all your reserves of strength and cunning. Well, if you say so. Your adversary has disappeared and now stands at the far end of the room in front of a door with 2 locks. How will you approach him? So, grip your sword firmly and advance towards him. Look through your pack for a weapon to use. So I'm going to look through my pack. And I will look through my pack and find... You rummage through your haversack. What is in there? You may attempt to use any of the following items if you have them on your equipment list. A potion of invisibility, the eye of the Cyclops, a piece of cheese, a bow with silver arrow, or a Y-shaped stick. And I'm going to use the eye of the Cyclops because I think that is the coolest weapon ever against the Warlock. So I'm going to go to 382. You hold the eye up in front of him and the jewel gives off a dull glow. You point it towards him and he shrieks. He backs away into a corner and a beam of light shoots from the jewel. As it falls on him, he sinks to the floor and a remarkable transformation takes place. He starts to shrivel and grow visibly old in front of you. His skin wrinkles and cracks and he slowly becomes an amorphous heap in the corner. After some moments, the jewel stops glowing and you approach a lifeless bundle of cloth. His robes are all that remain. Turn to 396. So that was easy. With the Warlock now defeated, you know your quest is almost over. You approach a door with 2 locks. There are no keys around. You retrieve 2 keys from your pack and try them in the locks. They turn. You open the door and peer around. Turn to 242. If you have no keys, you may try to break down the door. So I've got 2 keys, so that's fine. This is a tricky bit now, is do I have the right keys? The door opens to reveal a small, dimly lit room. The walls are hung with ornate curtains, laced in silver and gold. A single flame burns in one corner, throwing light on a low table in the middle of the floor. On this table is a large chest. You step up to investigate the chest, and from all around, yet from nowhere, a mysterious sound fills the room. It sounds like the rumbling of thunderclouds preparing to make storm. You approach the chest and can see that it is held shut by 3 locks. As you approach, the noise gets louder. Will you hack at the box with your sword to try to split it open, or search through your bags to see if you can find keys to fit? I'm going to search through my bag. During your adventure, you will have come across various keys and should have collected some of these. You may now use 3 of these keys to try to open the locks on the chest. Each key is identified with a number. To determine whether you have the right keys, add their 3 numbers together. Now turn to the section which has the same number as this total, where you will discover whether you have used the correct keys. So I've got 99, 111, 66, and 111 again. I don't know. I'm going to actually try the 211s and the 99 first, which gives me 222, 220, 321, 321. I suppose there are paragraphs for every possible combination of keys now. Oh, that's what it looks like. Okay, so 321, it does says turn to 169. So I presume that that's quite sort of... if you just see that in the text, you wouldn't think anything of it, I suppose. 169, let's see how that goes. If I'm wrong now, maybe that's a trap or something. One by one, all the keys click and turn in the locks. You have placed them all correctly. Oh, I didn't see that coming. So it is supposed to be 2 key 100. Maybe there's 211 keys so that they try to make you use the wrong key. Maybe that is the point of the 211s. That's tricky. So that's one of their sort of anti-cheat features. And yeah, okay, that's quite nice. As the last key turns, the lid of the chest comes free and you open it. Turn to 400 to see what lies within. Oh, that was a bit of a turn up for the books. Turn up for the book. I'm going to 400. And this was just my second try in like a third of a century. Well, obviously, I do remember some bits from from the old days, but I was not expecting it to be that easy. Is it really that easy? Did I just get really lucky? Second try. That's a new record for me, actually, and I definitely didn't do it on the second try when I played this before, because I was cheating like crazy in the old days. Ooh, that's very nice. Although the border looks a bit cheesy. The Warlock of Firetop Mountain is no more, and you are now the owner of the sorcerer's riches. At least 1,000 gold pieces, jewelry, diamonds, rubies, and pearls are in the chest. Hidden under these you find the Warlock's spellbook, and as you leaf through the pages you realize that this tome is probably more valuable than all the treasure. Instructions are given for the control of all the secrets and the creatures of Firetop Mountain. With this book, unlimited power is yours, and the safety of your return to the village is ensured. Or if you would prefer, you could remain as master of the domain of Firetop Mountain. Actually, that would be quite nice, wouldn't it? If in later the return to Firetop Mountain, there was actually one adventurer who had taken over. But missed opportunity there. But that is quite cool, actually. Right. That's... did not see that coming. I actually had the right keys. I didn't need key 66, but I needed 11. I needed my 211s and my 99. Fancy that. Right. So that actually concludes my second playthrough and my maybe not a walkthrough. This might not be the optimum path through because I'm sure there is another path that is easier. And I'm sure there are some battles I didn't have to do now, like the one with the dragon, because I know there is a way to defeat the dragon without actually fighting him. That said, he's not very hard to beat with reasonably good abilities. So, Warlock of Firetop Mountain. I do remember this quite fondly, of course, because I really enjoyed playing it. That said, when I'm looking at it now and reading it now, it doesn't seem that much of a challenge compared to some of the other ones. It didn't feel that perilous. It didn't feel like, I mean, you got luck thrown at you all the time. A lot of the battles were quite easy. It's relatively easy to find the right path, or certainly one that works through the thing, and of course doing the maze, which of course is a bit confusing to start with, is very easy. Well, I'm saying very easy. If you do a proper map, which is not what I've done, then of course it will be quite easy to get through. I'm thinking this is actually one of the easier books, and I think when I'm doing my simulation now, I'm going to find that it's actually a very, very high chance of winning the game in this one, and I'm guessing maybe this will be a lot easier than most of the other ones. I'm guessing now. So, yes. So that's it for now. That is the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and I will be back with an aftermath episode where I do my simulation and say a little bit about the correct path and the map and things like that to do with this book. And after I've done because I still, first of all, I need to, of course, now do a complete map of the Firetop Mountain, which will take me a while because I haven't done that much yet. And I will have to do my simulation basic program, which is a little bit tricky now because there are a few elements I will need to incorporate, like the use of luck in battles. And also there are lots of places where you are allowed to escape, and some of those places it may actually be beneficial to your chances of winning to escape as well, and that's also something I have to take into account. So it's going to be a that said, the actual route through this game I think is reasonably easy to map out and easy to sort of use as a starting point for my basic program. So it'll be interesting to work out and do an analysis and just write or make a proper map as well of it. So if you've watched all this episode, thank you for watching. Thanks for your patience in watching this, and I will be looking forward to seeing you again next time when I'm doing my aftermath episode, and of course for other future episodes. Of course, now my next game will be one that I have never played before, game book number 2, which is the Citadel of Chaos. I would reach for it now and show it to you, but let's see if I can do it without bumping into the camera tripod. Let's see. Oh, there we are. Okay, so this one is the next one, and I've got the old cover. Because they changed this for the Dragon Banner editions. This is the old Star cover edition, and I know that the Steve Jackson or Ian Livingstone, they didn't really like this cover. I think the new one is actually much nicer, but this does have its own kind of sort of unique charm to it. It's a bit unique. It's quite different to the other ones, and oh yeah, so you can see here, this is quite early on because it says there's only 3 books in the series. This is book number 2, and of course, by the time this has been printed, there's only 3 books out, which means is really early days. So this was published 1983, and the illustrations are by Russ Nicholson. Not the that's the same illustrator as the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. The cover is by someone else, though. This is by somebody called Emmanuel. So that'll be interesting. I've never done this one before. I do believe that in this one there is a system of magic. Is that right? Yes, there's a magic spells, which will be very interesting to see. And this is written solo by Steve Jackson, of course, who always seemed to be the most innovative of the duo when it comes to trying new things. And I'm also really looking forward to getting to Sorcery, Steve Jackson's magnum opus, as it were, of books, which is going to be quite exciting, and that's going to be loads of episodes, I presume, because that is 4 books, of course, and they're all quite big as well. So that's for the next time, of course. I may start doing this before I've finished my Aftermath episode, but I will try to get the Aftermath episode done first so that there's more of a system to how these videos are posted on YouTube. So I'll leave it with that for now, and I'll be really looking forward to seeing you next time and to playing this book, which I've never seen before, and I'll also look forward to looking more at the Warlock of Firetop Mountain when I'm doing my map and probability simulation. I must say, I mean, I really liked this book 35 years ago, and I still like it, but I don't know, it just seemed a little bit too easy now. It seems a bit too easy. And I can see why it's usually not people's favorite. Usually people quote either Death Trap Dungeon or which other one? City of Thieves, Death Trap Dungeon, or House of Hell as their favorites, or at least those 3 I often see mentioned as people's favorite books. So it'll be interesting to get to those as well and see how they compare. So, right. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for your patience in watching this whole thing, and I will see you next time, and goodbye for now.